right. How we all doing? Gotta turn that music off or YouTube will nail me. Aren't you lucky? You're getting 2 videos of me today. And I didn't need to do this one. I could have saved it till tomorrow. But it was in my mind. And I know I'll have another thought between the end of this video and tomorrow morning. And I'm putting my hat on. Because I'm losing my hair, man. You see this? Look at this. I got like the Fred Dryer hairline is coming in. You guys remember Fred Dryer? I think he's still kicking. He did that show, Hunter. He's a football player. I think he started with the Giants. He played for the Rams in the end, which makes sense because it was the LA Rams back then, and he ended up with a TV show. I remember as a kid looking at him thinking, you know, there's a confident dude. Because, you know, he had that horseshoe hairline thing going on, and he just pulled it off. And this thing that's happening these days with guys my age, dyeing their hair, or if they start losing it, they just shave their whole head. Like, that's the thing now. Yeah, I'm holding on to every follicle. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to end up with the Ben Franklin look, right? It'll be all gone here, man, and it's going to be like down to my shoulders. Like, the more the hair goes away here, the longer I'm going to let it go. I don't trust Bill Burr. I think he's one of them. Let me put my hat on here. This is why I wear the hat. You know, people used to give me grief. Why are you always wearing that stupid hat? And then it's like a 50-50 thing. Half the people like the hat. The other people get sick and tired of seeing me in the hat all the time. I can't please everybody. You can't make everybody happy. Lesson number 1 for this video today. I actually wrote some notes down. I don't normally do this. But this is how I write my notes down. But there was just a couple things. So, okay, this morning I got up and let me find my sandpaper because I want to be productive. I sanded all this stuff out with the machine here. My favorite fest tool hooked up to the dust extractor. And now I'm just going to knock down the corners. This is how I do my shelves. So I mill up parts like this and they, you know, wrap around the edge. And that gives me a stiffer edge so that the shelf won't sag. I made these a little thinner than normal. It'll be fine. I did that on purpose. I wanted that thinner aesthetic. Okay. This morning I saw this Bill Burr interview with Jimmy Kimmel, another guy who, you guys remember Kimmel? He had that show, The Man Show. Does he apologize? Not that he needs to, right? I thought The Man Show was... I was out of town in the 90s. My cousin stayed at my house, and that was a fiasco. And when I came back, there was a Man Show t-shirt in my apartment. I never heard of The Man Show. I actually gave that t-shirt away, which I regret. And but that turned me on to The Man Show, and I started watching it. I thought, holy Toledo, this is ridiculous. The show's very funny. But the stuff that Kimmel did at that time, if you were to watch that stuff, you know, I should buy that. I should buy the DVD. Can you buy that? I've been buying a lot of old DVD collections lately. I've been watching Magnum P.I. I mentioned Fred Dryer. Hunter was no Magnum P.I. I got the whole series, and I've been watching that. I'm 1 episode away from ending the first season. I'll watch it tonight. Anyhow, yeah, this interview, the reason I'm bringing it up mainly is because he talked about Christmas. And I've got this bit, this comedy thing that... it's just an observation. I've mentioned it before. Comedy is something I always wanted to do. I'm going to do it. But I'm not going to do it the way everybody else does it because I don't have the energy or the time to be spending every night in a comedy club. So from time to time, you're going to start seeing me do this as a bit sort of thing on this channel. It'll be funny. It'll be a little bit more subdued because I don't want to curse that much. I know I do from time to time when I lose my shit when I'm driving. But I want to keep it relatively clean for you guys here. And it was a Christmas thing, and I wanted to watch it because I was hoping he didn't say things the way I say it. It's one of the things about watching other comedy. You know, you can be accused of stealing other people's ideas, and I really want to try to be as original as possible. So... and when I say I think Bill Burr is one of them, I do. I think there's a cult of celebrity going on. Because it is like a cult. For you to be accepted into this, there's a game you have to play. And I know that Burr comes off as one of us, and he goofs on. When I say one of us, I am middle of the road. I'm a issues guy, but you know, I'm definitely leaning a little bit more conservative. You know, I'm not going to apologize for that. So, but in the entertainment business, you can imagine these guys talking beforehand, going, you know, I'm going to goof on you a little bit, just so you know, that's okay, I get it, you know, because we can't trust anybody anymore. Look at Springsteen. All right, I got friends. They won't even listen to him anymore. Mike Ness of Social Distortion, same thing. Won't listen to his music anymore. Look at De Niro. That guy's off the friggin' rails, man. Batshit crazy. TDS, straight up. He's a friggin' jerk off. But the thing is like we all came up kind of idolizing these guys. They were like, Springsteen's music is the soundtrack to some of the best moments of my life. So I'm still going to listen to it, but he makes it hard. You know, I've got a friend, he won't listen to any of it. He won't listen to Mike Ness or Social Distortion. He won't watch a De Niro film. Sean Penn, right? I'll tell you what, the Sean Penn thing, there's an interview with him on Charlie Rose. At the end of their interview, he's basically telling us that we need to embrace communism. That this is the problem with all these people once they make it. You know, they start off like an average person, and then they get the whole cult of celebrity. They get accepted into that cult, and then they have to toe that line to keep getting those jobs to get to be more rich and more famous, and that's what they want. That's what they want. So they become that. And they get so big, and they start believing nonsense, and they start telling the rest of us we should be living a way that they don't think is going to affect them anymore, because now they're super rich and famous. And once you got millions and millions of dollars, you figure, oh, it won't hurt me. Everybody else should live like serfs and live under communism and socialism and everything, but that's why the rest of us watch that and we get so pissed off, right? And the thing with Burr, you know, his thing with his wife, which I don't care that Bill Burr's wife gave the double bird to Donald Trump. That doesn't bother me. What I think is interesting is that shows a total lack of respect for your husband in a public scenario like that. You know, like, I haven't heard anything. I haven't looked into it. You guys know me. I find out about it after I post the video. Somebody's going to be in the comments, well, you know, this happened. I don't know, man. Don't really care that much. But I hope he gave her a little bit of a what for. I suspect that Burr is the kind of guy, like, his whole act is him acting like he's wearing the pants in the family and everything. But in reality, his wife is running the roost, man. I think that's what's going on. You know, like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, right? I think that's what's going on. That's what happens. And I don't feel sorry for the guy because he made these decisions. He put himself in that situation. So, but I just think, like, how do you let that happen? And that's weird. That's a weird. Anyhow, it's not even what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to get to the Christmas thing because this is how you know he leans that way, because he was saying how he doesn't believe in the Jesus thing, which is fine. You know, I don't care. You know, believe what you want. But he also went into the Santa Claus thing, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, I know what I'm going to say to my kids when they're old enough, because he's got pretty young kids. And he's like, I don't like this thing that we lie to our kids, and this is a thing that these people, that's the way that they think. Look, I've said it before. There's a couple of things you have to do with your kids. You have to lie to them. And you have to crack them in the head once in a while. That's just how it is. Teach them how to take a punch right to the kisser. And when it comes to Santa Claus is one of your first forays into eventually becoming an adult. And this is the thing. This is like, some of these parents, like, he's soft. He sounds like a tough guy. He talks like, he's a hard ass. No, he's freaking soft, man. Listen to what he's saying. He's talking about how he feels bad because he's lying to his kid, and, you know, look, you're lying to your kid for the joy of it. Let them have this joy and this excitement, and you get to see through them. And he made a joke that, you know, you feel like shit, so you're making your kids have all this fakeness because it makes you feel better. No. You bringing them joy, they have this great time, and then when they find out the truth, you get to have this adult conversation with them. And you say, well, you know, it's great if they have a younger sibling or there's other kids around. I made this point before. You're accepting the child into the fold, and they're learning a lesson about life. And it sucks, but the truth is, yeah, everybody always talks about where we should be honest all the time, and I'm a pretty honest guy. My honesty hasn't helped me that much, right? If I lied more, I'd probably be much further ahead in life. If you got a kid and you tell him, he finds out, he comes to you like, Santa Claus isn't real, and blah, 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 and you sit him there and go, I know. Look, I went through the same thing when I was your age, and it bummed me out too. But how much fun did we have with this, right? And now we got to keep this going, you know, for your little brother or your little sister or whatever. Don't take this joy away from them. And it makes the child feel like, oh, hey, now I'm in with the grown-ups a little bit here. So it's your first, the Santa Claus myth, finding that out, and if you got good parents who can explain it to you that way, it's your first foray into being part of the inner circle and maturing as an adult. Because the reality is, you're preparing them to deal with real life scenarios once they leave the nest, which is, people are going to lie to you, man. So if you're telling your kids the truth, let's say you're telling them the truth all the time and you don't give them this lesson, well, then they go out into the world and they think everybody's telling the truth and they believe everything they hear. My dad purposefully told me the craziest nonsense, and I went out into the world repeating ridiculous nonsense, arguing with adults over it. Then I would go home and say, Dad, I'll give you a for instance. My dad was a baker. Very proud of it, very proud Greek. Greek's very proud, as most of us are, wherever we come from, whatever our heritages are. You should be proud of your heritage. Know a little bit about the history. That blood is pumping through your veins. But he told me, you know, the first donut was fried in grease. Well, that's how you make a friggin' donut, man. They're fried in grease. And the other one was that the ants in Greece, they're in Greece, right? So they can't grip or hold anything. They just slide all over the place. That was the big one. I was like 8 years old, having an argument with my teacher. My dad told me! And finally she gave up trying to make me understand the reality of it. And I went home and I said to my dad, my teacher wouldn't believe that the ants are sliding. And he looks at me, he just laughs in my face, and he says, this is a lesson for you. You don't believe everything people tell you, including me. It was great, man. I mean, my dad one time really let me down in an embarrassing way. It was some of the best memories I have that I grew from, looking back on them, were the times when I got let down. I did the Boy Scouts for a bit. My dad was supposed to pick us up after a jamboree, and he did not show up. Now, he worked hard, and all it was he put his head down, he fell asleep, he forgot about it. And some other parent had to come out and pick us up, and I was already having problems. This was Patterson. Imagine being a Boy Scout in Patterson. They used to chase you around with a buckle, with a brass buckle on it, on the end of a leather belt, and hit you with it. And Patterson, New Jersey Boy Scouts was like learning how to be a thug. It was thug school. It was ridiculous. And that really screwed me up with my friends, and I was so upset with my dad. And my dad just looked right at me and goes, I'm not happy about this. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. But just so you know, that's going to happen in life. It's going to happen again with us. You're going to do that to other people. It's going to happen. Nobody's perfect. All right. Well, now I know. Now I know. You know, so that whole thing of like thinking that you got to tell your kids the truth about everything all the time is nonsense. It's nonsense. What else did I write down here? Just because I wrote a couple notes here. I think I covered it all. What do I got here? Oh, I did make this other note just because I thought it'd be funny. There's nothing to do with what I was saying, but I mentioned this. I got a bit I'm working on in my head about Sean Penn because of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, right? I saw some interview with him where he based his character on a guy he knew, a surfer guy he knew, and then he ran into him. I don't know how old the video is, but he had, during a point of time when the interview was, he had recently run into that guy surfing. But the guy, he didn't recognize him so much because the guy had cleaned his act up now, and he had like a good job and a family and kids and everything else. So the stoner became like a, you know, more of a model citizen, I suppose. And I was thinking about that. I'm thinking, like, what was that? I saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High when I was a junior in high school in 1984. And I remember because I was sick. And I was drinking a lot of, back then the cough syrup had like codeine in it, you know. So I was drinking cough syrup and smoking grass and everything. I saw the movie like 3 times. And the first couple times I saw it, I didn't even remember. That's why I kept going back. Because I was effed up every time I saw it. Great flick. I got the DVD. If you haven't seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, you need to watch that flick. It's great. But what are we talking now? 84, 94, 2004, 2014. 24 is coming up. That's 40 years. I mean, there's a show or a movie that is screaming for a funny sequel. I mean, can you remember? I mean, it's not going to happen unless somebody's working on it right now. But could you imagine Fast Times at Ridgemont High, you know, the 40th anniversary, and you know where these, because a lot of these people are still alive today, where their characters are now, and just make up some crazy scenario. That would be funny, man. Like Grosse Point Blank, I like that too. You know, got a thing for Minnie Driver. You know? But John Cusack's another one of those guys. You know, although it's, every once in a while he makes sense. You know? You guys remember that because of the high school reunion. That was pretty good. Anyhow, I just wanted to bring that up. I wanted to talk about the Santa Claus thing. I wanted to talk about that lie and how that's good for your kids. And look, if you're the type of human being where you're nervous about how you have to talk to your kids, let me remind you of something. You're the parent. You're not the best friend. You're the parent. You need to be doing things, saying things, setting things up in a way to make that person the best human being possible. And the best human being possible is not the human being who's telling everybody what they think all the time, so true. Because then you're just hurting everybody else's feelings all the time. You're basically turning your kids into a jerk, you know? So discipline your children, raise them to be polite, please and thank you. Raise them to understand that people are going to be lying to them. And that even doesn't even make everybody who lies a bad person. It just depends on what this scenario is. There's usually a reason for it. But honesty is always the best policy. But we should all be as honest as possible. But you have to prepare your kids for the world where not everybody that they run into is telling them the truth all the time. Question everything. That's what the Founding Fathers said, right? That's why I'm going to go with the Ben Franklin hairdo as a reminder to question everything. That's all I want to say. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Find out what I have to say tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be more entertaining. I hope you enjoyed this.